If you're looking for a fun place that features fresh-cut Christmas trees and some handmade gifts that would make Santa proud, Mike Randall says you should take a trip to North Collins.
Santa's elves have nothing on Jamie Awald.
People are doing other things. I guess I just like to make things.
Jamie and her husband Wes transformed this old dairy farm in North Collins into a fun destination.
We've been doing our fall entertainment farm for 20 plus years, and we got this idea, well, I think we should start selling Christmas trees.
It's called W&J Awald Farms Inc., and it's their maiden voyage as a fresh-cut tree destination.
And these are just all mixed variety.
FYI, they have trees outside and some on the inside.
So we have a Fraser fir, a Douglas fir, a concolor, and a grand fir.
The most miraculous transformation around here was the century-old barn. Round barn, that is.
This barn was built in 1901. They thought that working in a circular motion would be more efficient with milking the cows.
Jamie says they removed the stalls, filled it with holiday trimmings, and christened it the Round Barn Christmas Store.
And Jamie's jam-packed the place with some really nice Christmas stuff, but get a close look because a lot of these things she made herself.
These aprons, like the Christmas aprons over here, all of this stuff like I just put together for gifts. Like this whole wall here, this is all little handmade stuff. Actually, my daughter made these little sock snowmen. They're so cute.
Her best sellers are the homemade corn bags.
It's a natural heating bag because it has actual corn inside.
If you get the idea that she's kind of the queen of crafting, you're not far off. Jamie designs the fresh-cut Christmas wreaths, too.
So I just needed some kind of outlet. I needed to do something because I was, with the kids all day, and I need to do something else.
Now all her handiwork is on display and up for sale every day but Wednesdays. Check the W&J Awald Farms Inc. Facebook page for hours.
They always see the outside of the barn, so it's nice to give them an opportunity to actually come in the barn.
And hey, Santa, if you need a little extra help this time of year, check out 2258 Shirley Road in North Collins. For the Now Buffalo, I'm Mike Randall.
Buffalo Magazine, The Barn That Launched a Nationwide Movement, by Stan Evans, March 2, 2022. Updated December 28, 2022. If you drive south on Route 62 out of North Collins and make a left turn up Shirley Road, a brown barn emerges on the left side of the road from the undulating farmland about a half-mile or so up the hill. As you get closer, though, you realize this is no ordinary barn. It is a round barn, actually, 16-sided with a conical roof and roughly 2 stories high. A couple sides are whitewashed, but most of it is weather-beaten brown. Still, given that the barn is more than 120 years old, it's in pretty good shape. And it attracts a lot of attention, especially as summer transitions into the end of the year. Wesley and Jamie Awald, who own the barn and W&J Awald Farms, open up a store on the first floor of the barn in September, selling fall ornamentals and pumpkins, and offering kids activities like hayrides and a corn maze. Then in November and December, the first floor becomes a Christmas store, where the Awalds sell Christmas trees and ornaments. But a big attraction is just walking around and into the unusual and historic barn. They love it, Jamie Awald said of the customers who explore the barn's first floor. They love seeing the original woodwork. They like to see how it was put together. Charles A. Hager, a builder and contractor, built the barn in 1901, according to records from town historian Georgian Bowman. It no doubt was part of the round barn movement of the late 1800s and early 1900s, when many work-weary and money-strapped farmers became convinced that 8, 10, 12, and 16-sided barns were less expensive to build and far more labor-efficient to use than the traditional rectangular barn. New York State once had 42 such barns, and perhaps a dozen still stand. Many of those that do remain are listed on the National Register of Historic Places, as is this barn in North Collins. Called the Gommel Hexadecagon Barn, it's named after one of the barn's later owners. The round barn movement stretched from New York to Kansas, and dozens of the barns still exist farther west as well. The direct father of the movement seems to be Elliott W. Stewart, a wealthy farmer from Erie County, New York. He designed and built an octagonal barn in 1874 as an experiment and was pleased enough with the results that he published its plans, together with an enthusiastic personal endorsement, in a farm journal he edited. The idea was picked up by several other rural magazines during the next 2 years, including one in Chicago, and also found its way into at least 2 books. By 1884, Stewart said that he knew of 30 to 40 octagonal barns that were inspired by his design. When fire destroyed 4 of his barns in 1874, Stewart hired a carpenter to replace them with one octagonal barn. The wood frame barn was 80 feet in diameter, 2 stories high, and had a conical roof. The inside ground floor had a rectangular configuration with 2 parallel rows of stalls for 40 cows, their heads facing the center aisle for feed. A row of stalls for 6 horses was against the south wall, and pens for calves and storage bins were on the opposite wall. When Stewart's barn was completed in 1875, he was so proud of his accomplishment that he wanted farmers everywhere to hear of his barn's superior design, according to Richard Triumpho's Round Barns of New York, and he had the means to spread the word. Stewart was a non-resident professor of agriculture at Cornell University and editor of the monthly Buffalo Livestock Journal. He wrote an article with engravings of his octagon barn for the January 1876 issue. Elliott Stewart touted his octagon design for its inexpensive construction, wind resistance, efficiency of use, and general strength of form, according to the Round Barns of Kansas. Elliott Stewart, a farmer from Erie County, New York, rekindled serious interest in the Central Plan barn in 1875 when he erected an octagonal dairy barn on his farm. Stewart taught at Cornell University's College of Agriculture and edited several farming journals. He published plans for his barn and maintained correspondence from interested farmers. By 1884, Stewart noted that 30 to 40 barns on his plan had been built in the United States, including 3 in Indiana. Stewart was born July 14, 1817, in Madison County. He arrived in Buffalo in 1846 after being admitted to the bar. But health problems prompted him to give up his law practice and purchase 209 acres close to 18 Mile Creek near Lakeview. Here, Mr. Stewart became both a gentleman farmer and a very practical dirt farmer, according to a newspaper article at the time. In fact, he became a farmer of the future, since he not only improved farm methods, but initiated new techniques as well. Although round barns in North America reportedly existed as early as the colonial period, they were popularized in 1874 when a wealthy New York farmer named Elliott Stewart designed and built an octagonal barn as an experiment. He published his plans in a farm journal, sparking interest across the rural Midwest. Stewart sold other farmers on the idea by emphasizing the round barn's inexpensive construction, wind resistance, efficiency, and strength. His article was picked up by other periodicals and word spread, especially to the west, where other farmers imitated his designs. The round barn in North Collins, like Stewart's in Lakeview, was a dairy farm. The Ewalds bought the barn and the farmland around it in 1999 from Maynard and Barbara Gommel. The Ewalds, who are crop farmers, have since removed the 28 cow stanchions, the stalls for 4 horses, and the silo that was in the middle. At first, they used the barn for storing the pumpkins they grew on the farm and painted many of the pumpkins inside the barn for sale to retail outlets. In more recent years, they opened the store for fall and Christmas, while also working to restore the barn. Restoring an old piece of history is a challenge, Jamie said, especially as they continue operating their crop farm of pumpkins and berry rootstock. A state historic preservation grant of roughly $24,000 in 2002 helped, and they were able to correct the lean in the barn with cables and replace some of the siding. As a historic site, repairs and restoration must keep the integrity of the original structure. That means only hemlock wood is used. The goal is trying to restore this piece of history, she said. It requires quite a bit of work. Right now, it needs a new roof, and all the siding needs to be redone. But in this lengthy process of restoration, the Ewalds see that others stop and grasp the same appreciation of the round barn as they have. That is one of the reasons the Ewalds opened up the inside of the barn for the store, so that people can see the inside. People think it's cool, Jamie said. When they come in here, they are really amazed.